Well, hello and welcome to Season 1 finale of It's Steven Time. I'm your host, Steven Alexander. In today's episode, I have APSU student and musical artist Adelicia Loewen here to discuss her music and much more. So stay tuned. You're watching IST.
There's a Steven Show, the Steven Show, the Steven Show, yeah.
So it's so hard out here for us college students. We have so many responsibilities, yet we still have to desire to follow our dreams. Here today to discuss how she is balancing both and her musical career is Adelicia. So how are you, Adelicia?
I'm doing so good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm excited you're here.
Yes, I'm excited to be here. Oh, the energy, it's strong.
It's just strong.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your style first.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Like, where do you get your style from?
Well, of course, I'm a theater major, so a lot of my style comes from like old Hollywood movies.
Yes.
Like, I'm very, very inspired by like pre-code Hollywood. I'm also very inspired by like 90s grunge fashion, so really bringing that like old age into kind of like a new age, but not like a full new age look. It's really inspiring.
I love that. Keep that look because it's unique. It's different. You know, I love that. So tell us a little bit about your background and growing up before college.
Yeah. So my background, I come from a small town, Hendersonville, Tennessee.
Oh my gosh, are you from Hendersonville?
I'm from Hendersonville.
I know people from here. Would you go to the beach?
No, I went to station camp.
I know people from state. Okay, we're gonna talk.
Yeah, we're gonna talk. Yeah. So I went to station camp, small town. I was a cheerleader in high school. I kind of did the whole thing. I always like felt connected to music, and performing was always my thing. And so that's kind of why I did cheer for a while, was because I was like, this is a way for me to perform. And then I discovered the theater, and that changed the game for me. Really did. And I started doing shows at my high school, and then I got a scholarship. I won the Tully Daniel Acting Scholarship.
Wow.
And then I came to Austin Peay, and I've just been doing that ever since.
Wow. So would you say like your music has always been something that you love doing? Like where did that sense of creativity come from? Like
I would love to know, because I would bottle it up and sell it if I knew where it came from. But pretty much my whole life I've been writing like musicals and writing music. I think that for a while it was just an escape from everyday life and the struggles that we face every day. And then I think it just became something that I fell into, and it was just comfortable for me. And the original intent was never to post any of it or to get clout. It was always just, I do this to express myself because I don't really know what else I can do that would be as honest as making music. And then I was like, I met my producer Nathan, and he was like, you need to start releasing music.
Wow.
And then that was 2-3 years ago, and I worked on the album for a couple years, and then I dropped it, and the rest is history.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
I want to ask you just why music is so important within our society. Because music, it's people who are artsy like us, theater, television, all that stuff, we understand why this stuff is so important. People who don't understand, like they're watching from it, like their phones or TV, they don't understand that we do this because it brings so much togetherness. Oh, definitely,
you know? Definitely.
So why do you think music is so important?
I think it's universal. I think that you hear music and that beat, that rhythm, like you hear that rhythm and it touches something inside of you that you can't necessarily explain, but it all comes back to your mother's heartbeat. Like you hear a rhythm from the time that you were thought of, you hear a rhythm. And in our lives, we march to the rhythm of our own drum. And so I think that it's something innate within us to find patterns and to find things that we relate to, and things that we can find like a sense of hominess in. And I think that music has a weird quality of just letting people connect, and you don't have to say anything, and you can listen to music in different languages and you can still feel the power behind what they're saying. And I think that it all goes back to that rhythm and just the rhythm of life and how we move through it.
For sure. I just kind of want to talk about now, like when it comes to rules in music. Yeah. You know, people say you should be a certain way. Right. You should do this certain thing. Do you set rules for yourself, or do you go by what rules people give you?
Well, I'm a firm believer in the arts community. You have to know everything about it, and you have to know the rules so well that when you break them, you do not get into trouble. And so I know my rules, baby, and I break them. So if you don't really know what you're doing, people can see that and they think that there's not really a uniformed way to do it. But if you know all the rules and you know the proper ways to break them, then that's what really makes a statement, because that's where you have art that is propelling things forward, and you have art that makes people question what's going on. And I think that questioning is really important.
So why would you say, like, you know, with the rules thing, why do you think it's important to push your own idea and not just go with the rules? Because like in this business, you have to learn, like, you know, people will tell you things, but you also have to know that what it is for you, that's what you need to do for you.
Oh yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
Yes, I think that it boils down to flavor. I think that every individual person, inside and outside of the arts community, their energy is their flavor. Like whatever flavor they put on something, that's unique to only them. So it wouldn't be fair to me or to the world if I were to sit there and try to give you everything properly and give it to you like how somebody else gave it to you, because that's not my flavor. Like that's not what I have to offer, you know? So I think it's really gauging, it's gauging how honest are you willing to be? Like how vulnerable are you willing to be? Are you willing to bear your whole heart out there? Are you willing to put those feelings that are kind of uncomfortable out there? And that's what really transcends and separates.
Right, for sure. Also too, I just kind of want to know about your brand. Because like building a brand, like that's very important.
Yes, definitely.
So how do you make sure that your brand and how you build it, you want to remain professional and you want people to see you as that?
That's a tricky one, because I think that also boils down to an honesty thing. And I think that whenever it comes to my brand, because I get this question sometimes, like people are like, okay, well, what makes you do the things that you do in the way that you do them? And it boils down to, I can't do it another way. It boils down to, this is Adelicia, like this is who she is, this is honest. And if I were to start trying to like make a better brand, I don't think that it would be honest. So I kind of let myself just, whatever happens that day is my brand. And I know that it's my brand because I'm the one that's doing it.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
So how does your music kind of differentiate from other artists? And how do you make sure that your music does that? It branches off, it's different. You know what I'm saying? And what is your vibe? What is your music vibe?
That's a really good question. So I'm super inspired by the 80s. Like I love 80s music, like I love 80s rock, and I love the synths. Like I love like multiple sounds going at once. Like I enjoy creating soundscapes. So I enjoy transcending people not only to like a feeling, but to a place. So that's kind of why like throughout the album, I wanted to transcend people into a different location. So definitely 80s music, super duper inspiring. And I think that, once again, bringing that old age into the new age, that's the thing I tend to do a lot. And I feel like sometimes we lose sight with modern music. We really lose sight with the writing. We lose sight with the message. And I feel like really putting in older qualities to your music, having like a lot of my music can be simplified to like 5 instruments.
Right.
And so I think that really, I want to be looked at not as a modern artist. Like I want you to be able to play my music along with the Eagles and be like, okay, like this could be on the same station.
That's
if
smart.
That makes sense.
That's really smart thinking, for sure. That's really good.
Yeah, it's definitely, I want it to be constant flow no matter what.
Right.
And I want that to be a connection. Like I don't think there should be much separation in music.
Right.
You should take things from every genre and eat it up.
For sure. So you are a student here.
Yes, I am a student.
And how do you balance that? You're a student, you're a full-time student too, right?
Yeah, I'm a full-time student.
How do you balance your career, starting your career? And music is not easy.
Oh, no.
Theater's not easy. Television's not easy. How do you balance having all that and then going to school at the same time?
You don't. So basically, it becomes a priorities thing. It becomes sometimes I have to miss class because I have to sleep because I've been doing a show, or sometimes I have to miss class because, you know, I've been in the studio until 2 a.m. And those are kind of the choices that every day you have to say, well, what is catering to me right now? What is driving me? What is propelling me? Right. And then you have to prioritize according to that. Like sometimes your 8 a.m. class is not nearly as important as getting this song done and making sure that it's out by the weekend, because you have producers asking you, where's the stuff?
Right.
And so I think it's really just making the choices of what's important and what's not to you. Like some things are definitely more important to me. Like it pretty much goes like music and theater and then like my work and my school.
Exactly.
And so it's nice to be in school for something that I do learn something every day that helps me in my field, which that's why I don't want to stop school even though things are kind of moving quickly for me. But yeah, it's definitely, you really never learn to balance. You're kind of just walking that tightrope all the time, and sometimes you slip, but I mean, there's that net. And
yeah, and I like what you said about, you know, you have to figure out what's important, because people get caught up in being in school, and school is very important. Yeah. However, it's not, if you are a theater major, science is not what you're going for. You have to go with, you know what I'm saying, what's going to gain you success, and you have to stay focused on that. Well, that told us we have to wrap up, but we're going to have more with Adelicia when we return. You guys are watching IST.
You can help support Austin Peay students who don't have enough to eat by donating to the Save Our Students Food Pantry. The Save Our Students Food Pantry is looking for soup, pasta, canned meat, canned beans, peanut butter, and fruit. You can drop off your donations at the food pantry on Home Avenue. It's open Tuesdays through Friday, 8:30 until 4. For more information, call 221-1620, a campus reminder from Austin Peay.
I'm from Clarksville, Tennessee.
Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Jackson, Tennessee.
Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Little Rock, Arkansas.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Gaffney, South Carolina.
Seattle, Washington.
Jeremy, Haiti.
I'm from Três Pontas, Brazil.
Chicago, Illinois.
Hawaii.
Phoenix, Arizona. Braselton, Georgia.
From Modesto, California. I want to be a neonatal nurse.
An athletic trainer and accountant.
Playing the NFL.
An interior designer. Physical therapist.
Law enforcement officer.
Ultrasound technician.
Social worker.
Physician.
Politician.
Psychologist.
CPA.
Your social worker.
Nurse practitioner.
Physical therapist.
Restaurant owner.
A politician. Start my own business. Veterinary.
Elementary school teacher.
The NBA player.
Cardiovascular surgeon.
Anesthesiologist.
Businesswoman in Nashville.
Social worker in Miami, Florida.
Politician in Washington, D.C.
Colorado.
Orlando, Florida. Houston, Texas.
Chattanooga.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Seattle, Washington.
Nashville, Tennessee. San Diego, California.
Nashville, Tennessee.
New York City, New York.
San Diego, California.
Atlanta, Georgia. Nashville.
Los Angeles, California.
New York, New York.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Orlando, Florida.
Los Angeles, California.
Baltimore, Maryland. Clarksville, Tennessee.
Carolina Beach, Carolina.
Philadelphia.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Clarksville, Tennessee.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Stephen Alexander. I'm here in the studio with APSU student and musical artist, Adelicia Loewen. So now we're going to jump right into it. Can you tell us about your album, House of Fun?
Oh, I would be so delighted. So I wanted it to be a journey and an adventure. So the album is designed to listen to from the beginning all the way to the end in one sitting. I wanted it to tell a story, and I wanted it to kind of seem like a musical. So it's definitely, once again, like that theater background, like coming into the music background too. But I wanted people to be able to leave, and I wanted them to go to a party like no place they've ever been before, and I wanted to be a part of their lives. And so I wanted that whenever we both, I like to call it like transcending. Like when you listen to music and you forget that you're listening to music and you're just like, I'm in a location and I'm feeling a story. Like I wanted that every single time. And so definitely that inspired me through the album. And it would definitely be me like listening to it and then being like, this song needs to go here because the storyline doesn't make sense. And so it's definitely something that you have to sit down and listen to all the way through.
Yeah, for sure. And like we were talking about on commercial, I love Mommy.
Yes.
That song, let me tell you, what's the inspiration behind it?
Okay, so Mommy was never supposed to see the light of day. I was never gonna have it on the album until my producer was basically going through my trash files, because I have like a burn pile in my laptop that I'm like, this music is never seeing the light of day, like this is just my music when I'm mad. And so I went home one day after an excursion with a gentleman, and I just got into my laptop and started laying down Mommy, and I totally forgot about it. And then my producer, whenever we were pulling things from the album, we were kind of going through my trash files, just being like, is there anything we can use as an interlude? And he found the song and he was like, you have to put this on the album. And I was like, are you sure? Like I'm kind of dragging this guy. And he was like, no, put it on the album. And so we went into the studio, we recorded it in a day, and it's on the album.
It's such a good song, such a good song.
Thank you so much.
Such a good song. I kind of want to talk about now some of the maybe uncertainties and insecurities within the album that maybe you had, and like,
definitely.
How did you balance through that, and what were they for you?
So for me, I'm always concerned about the technical aspects of my voice. I'm always, because with the musical theater background, you are trained. So whenever I'm transferring myself from doing like trained vocal music and then going into me doing my own music, I'm always hypercritical, and that's just in the way that I do want it to be perfect. Like I like to also do, whenever I'm recording, I like to record it through one time. I'm like a one-time girl. Like if I can't do it live, then what's the point of doing it in a recording? And so it was definitely the pressure that I would put on myself to just make sure that it's exactly where it needs to be when it needs to be there. And throughout the time, there have been multiple songs that were on the album and taken off the album. And it's just, you have to be very picky, and then you have to know whenever to let go, and you have to know, okay, well, I did this, and this is my brand. I can't be any more honest than I already am, and you just have to drop it.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's kind of what I did.
Yeah, that is awesome. Like, that's awesome. I kind of now want to talk about the lessons you learned about yourself through this album, like creating this album.
Yes.
What is something that you learned about yourself through this?
I learned that I could handle a lot more than I give myself credit for. And I also learned patience. Yeah, big. Like the album, it changed me in the way that I worked on it for 3 years. I worked on it for 2 years before I even said, hey, I'm gonna drop an album.
Wow.
Just because that's when I work the most honest. Whenever I'm alone in my apartment, I don't really ask for much help. Like I said, I have one producer. His name is Nathan Stoltz. He goes by Ornate, and so basically he was the only person that I would kind of like talk to and bounce ideas off of, and he didn't really come in until probably about year 3 that I'd been working on it. And so I just kind of let him in and like trusted him, and he just took me like making sounds into my laptop and just really took it to the next level. So also trust, and being able to trust other people that are on your team was a big deal.
For sure, for sure. So what do you want like listeners to take away from your album when they listen, and how do you think like your album relates to our society? Like how does it relate, and what do you want people to take away from it?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. So I think that a lot of the times we feel like we are alone, and we feel like we could be at a party and everybody can be having fun around us except for us. And it's this weird thing in our society where we really, really fight for the attention of others. And sometimes,
that's big.
Yeah, it's heavy, but sometimes the only person that we need to fight for attention from is ourselves. So the album is just catering to yourself, you know?
Oh my goodness.
In a way, like, and it's falling in love with yourself, and it's falling in love with the mistakes that you make. Like, and why me? That was a song I wrote like to myself of like, why do I do these things? Like, why do I sell myself pipe dreams? Like, why am I doing this? And so a lot of the times you might think a song is written about a certain person, but like in reality, there's multiple sides to every story, and there's multiple sides to every person.
Right, for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really big what you just said. I kind of want to ask you now, are you working on any more current music? Are you dropping another album?
I am.
You are?
Yes.
Okay, I know you can't really talk about it.
I have a new single that's coming out within probably the next 6 months. And then
wow.
I have 3 albums of content that I've been just sifting through, waiting to drop, because I really took a musical journey for 3 years of just writing, and it was me coming home every day from school in between classes and just writing and just locking myself in the apartment on Friday nights and not going out with my friends and just literally writing anything I heard that caught my ear, or sometimes you get a magical feeling from the universe. I don't really know how to explain that, but the universe kind of tells you, like, don't forget that, like, file that away in your cabinet. And so I would just take those pieces, and I have a lot of content. Yeah. And so now it's just basically knowing when I want to drop it and then just consistently working on more.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So where can people find your music? Like,
everywhere.
Everywhere?
She's everywhere.
So YouTube,
Spotify, iTunes, any streaming service, you can find it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, because like, I obviously see so much growth. I see you going places. So with that being said, when you look back at this interview, when you get there, don't forget about me, okay?
Oh, of course not, baby.
But I want to know just what is it that you want to gain, and what is it that you want people to understand about you?
I think that I never want anyone to understand anything about me, because I think that we fight for that a lot. I think that we in this world, especially with technology, we are constantly craving intellectual stimulation. Like, we constantly have to know, okay, well, this, but why? And I don't want to be like that. I don't want anybody to know anything about me. I want people to know my music. I want people to know that the energy that I put out, but in regards to like who I am, it doesn't have to be said.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we have to take another commercial break, but when we return, we'll have more with Adelicia. You guys stay tuned. You're watching IST.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self. And I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
Welcome back. It's time for us to get in the zone. Today's topic is called Be Your Own Boss. I'm here in the studio with Adelicia. So this topic, I
love this. Yeah, this is fitting. Be your own boss. I'm ready. Okay.
So I just want to know, why is it important for you as an individual to know what it is you want?
I think that we always have a choice every single day, and you have to chase it. So having what you want and what you need are two different things.
Yeah.
And being your own boss is knowing, okay, I really, really want this, but I need this right now.
Yeah.
And so I think that balance is important for sure.
I think so too. And for me, I would say with being a boss, like, you have the right to say what you will and will not tolerate, what you will and will not do. So it's like, with being a boss, you set boundaries within yourself. And it's like, of course, you know, you have to work with others, but it's like, this is what I'm willing to do.
Oh, this is what I'm willing to accept.
Right.
And that's it.
And that's it.
Yeah.
No more, no less.
Yes.
And if we can't work around that, then hey, we don't need to work out.
At all.
At all.
Yeah,
period.
exactly.
So I think that's one like key component to being a boss. Also, I just kind of want to know, why should we as people seek being a boss daily? Like, how can we learn to do that?
It shouldn't matter if you're a boss technically with your job. It should just be, am I a boss in my everyday life? Am I in control? Like, you need to be in control of yourself, in control of your emotions, in control of your body. Like, you need that control. Every day I wake up, I meditate. I do a quick meditation. That way I can just check in. Because like that's the first step in being a boss, is definitely, okay, what's my mindset? Like, if you're not in control of your mind and your emotions and being able to think clear-headed, then you need to start like taking the steps to do so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is like the biggest component you've learned about being a boss or a bosshood?
I think that it would definitely be not accepting things that I don't deserve and accepting the things that I do, and saying, okay, I worked really hard for this. I have every right to be happy with what I do. Just like you with this show. I mean, you're able to sit there and say, I've done an entire season of this crazy stuff. Like, that's a big deal. You're able to relish in that because you deserve that. Or the things that you don't deserve, like someone being rude to you, like you have every single right to sit there and say, no, I don't have to tolerate this. And that's a big deal.
Right, for sure. I feel like for me, the biggest lesson I've learned about just being a boss is understanding that you can set out what you want and seek what you want, but also be humble about what you do.
Oh, exactly.
Because sometimes people get caught up in the boss title. I'm a boss, I'm a boss, I'm a boss, but you are still nobody.
Oh, humility is so important.
You're right.
You have to be humble, because it doesn't matter how good you are or how talented you are. Mama, there's always somebody out there working harder than you, spending more time than you.
That's right.
And that's how it is. And you have to know, okay, these people might be working harder than me, but I'm gonna give it my best shot, and I'm gonna put my flavor on it every single time. And know there's always room for improvement, and there's nothing wrong with not knowing things.
So when did you learn about humility, and like how have you allowed humility to shape and form who you are today as an artist, as a student, and just in everything that you do?
I think that it comes from, I always felt like, from the outside it seemed like I fit in, but on the inside I always felt very creatively isolated. I always felt like a disconnect from other kids. I always felt like I wasn't like all the way there. So I kind of had to be like, okay, well, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe there's something off. And I think that humility isn't really something that you can teach. Like, I think that it's an honest emotion. Like, I think it triggers something in your brain of you being like, okay, like, I'm doing what I have to do, and it's not like I'm doing it. If you're not doing something for greatness, then you're always going to be humble about it. If you're doing it because it's your passion, then that's what's going to drive you.
That's the truth. You are preaching up here.
Oh, you know I'm up here preaching, baby. I cannot help it. You got me in the zone.
But let me tell you, it's the truth, because like you said, everything you just said is so valuable. Like, it's the truth. And you have to understand that, like, through this, it's like humility teaches you just who you are more, deeper. And it's okay to be outside of the box, as we talk about this a lot on the show. For viewers, you know I say this all the time. Like, you don't want to be in the box. You want to be outside the box. And like, I always grew up feeling the same way too. I was like I got along with everybody. I love everybody, but inside, I always knew I was different.
Like an outsider.
Just like an outsider. And like, I don't know, just being able to create, and like also too with humility is knowing when to take control of your emotions when people want to use you and take advantage of you, because they know that you have talent that they don't have.
And they will try to snatch it up. They will.
And I'm not saying that in a rude way. I'm just saying that some people are envious of what you have because they don't have it.
Exactly.
So how do you, in these moments, try to stay aware of people like that in your life?
I think that seeing people being, because you can see it becomes a negative thing around you, people being like envious, and I think that you just have to sit there and say, not necessarily look down on them in a way, but just be like, you are acting this way because you feel inferior. And that's fine, but that's not gonna stop me from being better. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is.
It is true.
And people show their emotions on their face. Like, with my acting background, like, it's really hard to have people lie to me, because, I mean, I know how to lie on camera well enough for you to believe it. So I'm gonna be able to call out a lie in my everyday. And so you'll see people start to be those snakes in the grass. Yeah. You just have to watch out.
For sure. I wanna ask one last quick question. What advice would you give a student who is afraid to be boss, or just anybody who's afraid to just be a boss? They're scared.
Okay, well, if you're not going to do it, then nobody else is going to. You have to pave your own way. We said that during commercial break. You got to pave your own way, because no one's going to be there standing there to give you handouts. Like, you are the one that's going to have to take care of yourself and tuck yourself into bed every night. So if you don't want it, then nobody else is going to want it for you bad enough.
Well, guys, I thank you guys for tuning in today. I enjoyed this show. Adelicia, you are welcome back anytime on the show.
Definitely.
Guys, thank you for tuning in to It's Steven Time for Season 1. I love you guys for the support, the love, and just everything that you shared with me and I'm able to share with you guys. Guys, I'll see you next season with more news and entertainment. And always remember to, let's go Peay.
You can help support Austin Peay students who don't have enough to eat by donating to the Save Our Students Food Pantry. The Save Our Students Food Pantry is looking for soup, pasta, canned meat, canned beans, peanut butter, and fruit. You can drop off your donations at the food pantry on Home Avenue. It's open Tuesdays through Friday, 8:30 until 4. For more information, call 221-1620, a campus reminder from Austin Peay.